Okay, so this project is similar to the mugs that we just made. You can see that there's a bowl. This is the same as like the darting that is on the mugs that you have. The same thing with the little one. The nice thing is these fit together, and this is like a set of nesting bowls, so you can take them apart or you can stack them inside each other. So that's kind of a nice thing that you're able to do with these. Okay, so I'm going to use the same rolling pin that I've used. I have a long piece of clay that's rolled out, so I mean it's bigger than my canvas, and so I'm going to try and really utilize all of this so I can get as much out of it as possible. And if you look, I have two patterns. These are the size that I need, and so I know this is going to get a little bit bigger, like it's going to stretch out some both directions. So I'm going to try and, I mean, I think I have enough thickness here that once it's squished, I can use that. But I do want to try and save like some of the top of this for like the bottom that I can use, and even like down here, save some of this so I don't have to roll out like more pieces for the bottom of this. Okay. I'm just trying to save myself some time. And not have to do things again. So I'm going to cut off this part and reserve that for later. And same thing with like this section. So I have like 2 extra pieces that I'm saving for later. Okay, so then I can take these off. Remember, I'm going to get rid of that texture that's on there. I feel like it interferes and kind of makes your design a little cloudy. And then I do have it on a canvas, so it's not going to stick to the table. Okay, so then same thing that we've done before. I'm just going to push really hard and roll. Okay, so you can see that design, and I can check and see and hope that I can get both of these with the piece of clay that I have. And so I think if I, okay, barely, but I think it'll work. You can see like I'm right on the corner of this one. So this at least allowed me to get both. It might not work for you. It just kind of depends. Okay, so I've done that one. I'm gonna go ahead and take this one off. And I wasn't really worrying about my design. Like I have a bigger section here and a smaller over here. So if I was more worried about that, I'd probably be rolling out another one. Okay, so this is all recycle. And now I have like 2 little strips. This is going to make the bowl for me. And on these patterns, I think this has been hard to understand. You have to think about you're making yourself a triangle. And so I probably should have them on here, but it should be 1 inch down and then it's 3/4 to each side. Okay, and that is for the little one. And then same thing, you've got the bigger one, but this is 1.5 inches down, and then it's like 1 inch to each side. So, I mean, this is a big triangle that you're cutting out. And not only is it going to get smaller around, it's going to get smaller or shorter height-wise, okay? Because you think about like what you see here and what you have up here, okay? So I'm going to, since I'm a righty, I'm going to do a 45 this way and trim this part off. Okay. And I mean, if you wanted to, you could work on both of them at the same time. And then I'm going to flip, do the same thing to the back. If you're left-handed, you would just do this opposite, but do the, the same thing because I'm doing the same thing on each side. And then I'm just going to score and slip those together, just like those mugs. So I'm just going to show you how to cut the darts. The rest of it is exactly like the mugs, so I feel like since you have made those, then this should be pretty straightforward. And really, this might be overkill on explaining, but it just seems like if I don't explain anything, then I have tons of questions. Okay, so I have those scored and slipped. I'm going to wrap them around and attach those. Again, I don't stress out about this seam. I just take a paintbrush and smooth over it, just so it's not rough. Okay. Okay, so I have both of those. I'm going to turn these into squares. Okay, and you just have to do this to the best of your ability and tap the sides and kind of think about, okay, do all of these sides look the same? Okay, so I'm trying to eyeball this and get that square. I like the seam. I'm putting it right in the center because I want it to be like the front of the bowl, whereas some people might not like it and they want to make it a corner so it kind of disappears more. Okay, so I'm going to mark all 4 corners on all of them just so I have an idea of where I'm starting. And I mean, I could be very particular on this, but I mean, I think this works and it suffices, and doesn't make you stress out too much. So let's see, the big bowl I'm measuring 1.5 inches down, so I would have to hold this up and do that. So it's like 3.5. So I'm gonna go down to 2, and I'm gonna have to do that for all of those. I can read that 2 on it. Okay, and then this says 1 inch, okay, out each side. So I'm going to look at this and measure find my 1 and go to each side of those. So this is a big section that's getting cut off. You can see there's not going to be a lot left of that, like, bottom section of it. Okay, so now I'm going to connect. I see that I have these pieces, so I'm going to connect them to my point. Oops, that one didn't go right. Okay, so you can see that's the triangle that's getting cut out. Okay, so all of those, same thing. You could use a ruler. I'm just kind of freehanding. It's not a very long line, so but if you are doing all of them at once, you want to make sure you keep track of where the lines are going, that you actually make the triangles in the right place. So I'm going to cut those. They're big. Okay, those are big triangles that are being removed. I know we felt like they were probably big ones to begin with before too. Okay, so then once you fold these in, you're going to see how this is going to get a lot smaller. You would score and slip, and you are getting that same shape as you do like on, let's see, let's get this in the middle. I don't have enough hands. Okay, so you can see how that's going to turn into the same shape that I have here. Okay, so this would do the same thing. We would score and slip all the seams, reinforce, and then trace and do the base of that. Okay, now you could, this one was made pretty quick. It's kind of square, it's kind of circular. So